Yo, what's up, peoples? Mood616 coming at you with a Nightmare on Elm Street countdown from the worst to the best. And yeah, just taking a look at my Freddy poster here. And we'll get right into it here. So let me walk over to the table. Alright, first up in the series, this was a no-brainer for me. This series was probably actually the easiest one to do the countdown for me because I'm more familiar with these films, and I mean I'm familiar with all the other series really well, but this one I've watched a million times. So yeah, so the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. I basically hated this film with a passion. I hated everything about it. I hated the fact that, you know, Robert Englund wasn't Freddy. I didn't like the story. I didn't like the fact that that Freddy was, you know, blatantly a child molester in this one, and which has always kind of confused me because in the original one, I think that Wes Craven had intended for him to be one, but it was never really, it wasn't blatantly said that he was a child molester. He was more of a child killer. In this one, he was just blatantly a child molester and more, a vicious molester / child killer. I didn't really like that about it. I thought that was pretty fucking awful, but I don't know. Overall, the movie, everything about it, the dream sequences, I just was not feeling. I don't know. It's just one of those films I just couldn't get into. I'm sorry, but that's why it's the last on my list here. Right behind that would be, the final Nightmare. Freddy's Dead. Now, I don't overly hate this film, but I don't like this film either. It's just not really that great. It's really weak. It's poorly done. I think this film could have been a lot better, and the fact that there is parts in this that are in 3D which are so bad. They're so bad, but I don't, like I said, I don't overly hate this film, but I can't say I like it enough to have it further down the list either, so that's why it's so low. And then we get into Freddy vs. Jason. Now, this is where it gets hard for me because I do like this entire series pretty much, and I do like this film, but I mean, I had to have the list go some way. Freddy vs. Jason, I enjoyed this film. I thought that Jason was a little more brutal in this film. Freddy, I don't think killed overly that many people, but I don't know. It's not too bad. It's not too bad, I guess, but it is what it is, I guess. Freddy vs. Jason. A lot of people, this film's always had a lot of mixed reactions, in my opinion. I mean, I talked to some people and they completely hated it, and others are like, well, it's pretty good. But yeah, so Freddy vs. Jason. And then we'll get into A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. I've always had mixed feelings about this film. Like a lot of people have said, this film does break a lot of rules in the series. From the reality to the dreams and stuff. And I do like this film. I think it's a really, really weak sequel to the original classic. I think that's what brings it down so much for me. It's kind of right in the middle of the pack for me. This is always one that I've had, like I said, mixed feelings about, and I do like a lot of the sequences. I do really like the bus sequence, but it's not one of my more favorite ones, but I do like this film. And then A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child. This one has a really, really cool premise. I do like the fact of, Freddy getting into the baby's dreams, and I think it's pretty cool. I don't know if this one has, I'm just getting all the kills mixed up, but I don't know if this one has, I think this one might have a really low body count in it. But no, there is. I mean, I do like the premise of this film. I think it's really cool. It's definitely unique to the series because, it wasn't done at all before. But I don't know. This one's pretty cool. I don't mind it. Part 5. And then getting on to Part 4. I think this is one of the better ones in the series. Really cool kills in this film. It's pretty brutal. I do like the fact that, the Dream Master controls it and stuff, and controls her dreams and shit. And the premise on this one is pretty cool. I think this is when Freddy has some really funny ass lines in this film and just crack me up every time I watch it. But I don't know. That's Nightmare on Elm Street, breaking into number 4 on my list. Head into the top 3 here. I got to go with Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Now, this film I always loved. I love this film so much. I love the premise behind it. A movie within a movie. Such a cool premise. I love how Robert Englund plays himself. Heather, I like how she's back in the film. Everything about this film, the dream sequences, the kills, just a fun, fucking awesome film. I'm really glad that Wes Craven came back and did this film. That's why it ranks so high on my list. Not only that Wes Craven did this film, but the fact that he reimagined the Freddy character so well in this film, and I thought it was just fantastic. And getting into number 2, and which is the original Nightmare on Elm Street. People are probably going, really? You don't have it at number 1? I love this film. I think this film is absolutely brilliant. I love the atmosphere of this film. I like how it's so dark. It's actually, not more of, Freddy character gets a little funnier throughout the series. This one he's not. It has a really dark feel, a really great premise. You cannot deny the fact that the Nightmare on Elm Street storyline is probably one of the most creative stories ever. This film's done very well. All the props in the world to Wes Craven for this film. Just could never say enough good things about it. But my number 1 film, which I've probably stated before on my channel, is A Nightmare on Elm Street 3. I absolutely adore this film. I've watched this film more than any other film in the series. I love everything about this. I love the atmosphere of it. I love the dream sequences. I love the kills. I think Freddy is fucking hilarious in this film. And the music. Dawkins' soundtrack to this film is absolutely amazing. It's just so fucking 80s, and I love 80s slasher films more than any other genre, subgenre, whatever. This film just does it for me every time. I could pop this in over and over again, and I'm thinking about actually watching it today. I haven't watched it in a little bit, been a few months, so I should pop this one in. But that is my number 1 on my countdown. Please don't hate me. No, whatever. You can feel free to leave comments down below or whatever, but I was not trying to really, do a shock video and have this at number 1, but I'm sure there's other people out there. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm one of a kind, but anyways, that's Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Classic film to me. And yeah, so that's my countdown. Mood 616 signing off, and gonna actually get to the Nightmare. I'm gonna get to the Friday the 13th one. I've done the Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street. Do the Friday the 13th one in a couple days. Alright. Thanks for watching and subscribing. Peace.